What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the best deal on wheels. Before we go ahead and get started with the presentation, I just want to let you know that my camera is in the bottom left-hand corner of my laptop as opposed to front and center where a normal laptop would be. So this whole like eye contact thing is going to be a little weird going from the camera back to my visual aids and then back to the camera. So just bear with me and we'll do the best we can do on it. But with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. So there's a utility item for all walks of life. For golfers, it's their utility club. For carpenters, it's their utility knife. And for homeowners, it's their utility rim. But for newly graduated college students, their go-to utility item should be a sports utility vehicle, which is also known as an SUV. And these vehicles have actually gained popularity over the last few years. So much that Jerry Edgerton, who wrote Car Shopping Made Easy, actually states that they used to have a 32% market share for the automobile market, and now they have a 43% market share, which is actually pretty crazy to think about that jumped that fast in just a few short years. And to help demonstrate this a little further, the Ford Motor Company has actually discontinued their production of sedans, and they are now changing that production into productions of SUVs to better fit the market trends and things of that nature. Regardless, though, these SUVs are very advantageous, and they are very advantageous for new college graduates. My name is Jacob Pressage, and I'm soon to be a new college graduate in this category. Seeking out an SUV for its safety features, its ability to drive in almost any kind of weather conditions, and it's better than average or better than expected gas mileage. So with that being said, I'm going to show you some SUVs here. As you can see, they come in all kinds of different shapes and colors and brands and things like that, like the Subaru on top, and then top left, and then you have the Volkswagen on the right, and then the Kia in the middle. But I was just showing you that they come in all kinds of different, models and things like that. So with that, we're going to move on to safety. And safety is definitely one of the most sought after features in the automobile industry. And starting off with an SUV, just their sheer size and weight helps them be safer. If you look at the vehicles rather, in the bottom right hand picture, you have a pickup truck, an SUV, and then a Nissan Altima. And that SUV is not much smaller than that pickup truck, really, but it is much larger than that Nissan Altima. And with the sheer size and weight of that SUV, it actually has a much thicker frame and more durable frame than other vehicles, especially sedans. So it can help, take a collision or an impact much, much better than a smaller vehicle would be able to. And then if you go ahead and look at the height of the vehicles itself, and not necessarily how tall they are, but where their drivers would be sitting. If you look at the pickup truck, it sits pretty high, but the SUV really isn't that far behind it at all. It's just a hair shorter, but the SUV's elevated ride height towers over the Nissan Altima's ride height, which is a lot safer for the driver, especially in like a broadside collision kind of thing. I mean, if you think about it, if you're sitting in that Altima and you get hit broadside, you're getting hit, shoulder, chest, torso area. But if you get hit in that SUV broadside, you're going to be looking like getting hit anywhere between like your hips and down, which could be a lot less fatal and could be a lot safer and hopefully help to stop a lot of fatal blows and a lot of fatal car accidents. But with anything that has an upside, there is a slight downside to this, which our friend Kevin Malone from The Office is here to show us. But SUVs do tend to roll over pretty frequently, actually. Um, they're just, they don't do it on their own. It's normally because of like a car wreck or driver error or something like that. But the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration actually states that SUVs have between a 14 and 23% chance of rolling over if they're in a single car collision. So that's something to definitely keep in mind when looking at these. But something that's extremely important to remember is that 78% of rollover fatalities are actually SUV involved, meaning that they are the most deadliest vehicle to roll over. Um, Again, this might seem daunting, but they don't do these on their own. It happens because of a car wreck or taking a corner too fast, so user error, or in some cases, bad weather, which is what I'm going to talk about next. And bad weather is something that everyone in Northeast Ohio should know. So, as you can see in the top left corner, that's a picture that we all know, we've all seen. Not that exact picture, but a scene just like it, a snow covered road, backed up traffic, and just a bunch of hazards waiting to go wrong, basically. Luckily, with an SUV, almost every single SUV comes with an all wheel drive or a four-wheel drive drivetrain, which, if you look in that diagram on the right, all wheel drive has three different differentials, and the one in the middle going vertically spins the front and back differential, which means all four wheels are pulling at the same exact time, as opposed to a four-wheel drive system. Just the front and the back spin, which means your front left and your back right will pull at the same time. And then when those slip, your front right and your back left will pull at the same time to help ensure that you're gaining traction on a slippery road or anything icy and dicey like what you see there. It is important to keep in mind, though, that these things will not take you through everything with these drivetrains. They're pretty good, but they're not unstoppable. According to Tom Wilkinson, who is actually featured in Tim Moran's article, Think All Four Wheels Are Pulling You, Think Again, he actually states, and I quote, four-wheel drive is not intended to be used for rock climbing or plowing through pits of mud. Rather, it's for people who want to get to the ski resort on a snowy day. So my interpretation of that is that as a new college graduate, just getting into the workforce, just landed his first big boy job, you want to be to work on time, you want to impress your boss, you're the low man on the totem pole, so you got to be there, and you got to be punctual, and you got to know what you're doing. But if you got a snowy road like what you see on your left, standing between you and work, and you're not driving a vehicle that's capable of driving in it, it's going to make it awful hard to get to work on time. It's going to be hard to get there. Pretty much just in any situation, it's going to be emotional stress, it's going to be physical stress driving, and it's just going to be a bunch of unwanted and unneeded stress. But luckily, if you drive an SUV with an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive drivetrain, you're not going to have that problem. And in some cases, like me, since I've driven both all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles, whenever the snowplow comes by and leaves a nice big clump of snow right in front of your driveway, and it can make it really difficult to get out sometimes, especially if you're driving like a two-wheel drive car or a sedan or just any other vehicle like that that sits lower to the ground. You're not going to be able to get over that snow bump, and it's going to make you late to work, and it's going to start for a bad day. And honestly, no one really needs that, especially just starting your career. But these drivetrains, like anything else, are great, but they do have one small problem with them, and that's going to bring me into fuel economy. So the only issue with these drivetrains are that they take up roughly 5 to 10% of your fuel efficiency, according to Montoya of Edmunds.com. And Edmunds.com is just a reputable car website for looking up specifications on cars and information. They do reviews on them for customers to go and check them out before they go and even test drive them to basically just try and save people time. And there's other features on the website, like they can sell vehicles and whatnot on there too. But the editors and the writers of Edmunds are a separate entity from all that selling stuff. But yeah, they say you lose 5 to 10% of your fuel economy, which, I mean, it's bad, but when you're talking about the trade-off, I really don't think it's all too bad. It's no secret that fuel economy is a concern for consumers in the auto industry, and it has been for a while. We're pretty fortunate right now with gas prices being pretty low, but almost all my life, this is pretty much the lowest I've ever seen them, but all my life, they've pretty much been a concern for people, and especially since I started driving. And it's definitely no secret that people just getting out of college don't have a whole bunch of cash to spend. So people like me aren't going to be wanting to spend their hard-earned money on a $60 fill up every 2 or 3 days when you're commuting to work and whatnot, driving a big old gas guzzler. But luckily, that's why they have small SUVs. So if you look on the left, you have a Subaru Outback right there, which, according to Cars.com, which is similar to Edmunds.com, same same premise and everything, just a different website. They state that vehicles of that nature, like the Subaru Outback, can get anywhere between 23 to 30 miles per gallon, which is actually pretty remarkable when talking about an SUV. However, vehicles on the right, like that larger Chevy SUV, They're getting more like 20 to 22, sometimes 23 miles per gallon. And once you reach that bigger vehicle mark, you're kind of stuck right around that 20 miles per gallon. But I don't think that's too bad when you're talking about all the other trade offs, especially if it's as safe as it is and it can get you going to pretty much wherever you got to go. But most car enthusiasts, such as Lawrence Ulrich, they point a lot of consumers in the direction of the Subaru Outback, basically due to its phenomenal gas mileage and its impeccable safety features. But regardless if you decide to bring home the car on the left or the car on the right, it's still going to serve as its sports utility vehicle, and it's still going to be a utility item for you. So you really can't go wrong there. But as far as utility items are concerned, there's something that should make life easier, not harder. And the reason why they make life easier is because it's something you can rely on in multiple situations. Like what I said earlier, for golfers, it's their utility club. It's something that they can hit in almost any situation, any lie. They know they can advance the ball with it closer to the hole. It can get them out of a few pickles. It's just something that they have a lot of confidence in. And then for a carpenter, his utility knife is something that he uses for almost everything, whether it be to fix other tools, to cut material, to mark things, to open boxes, whatever it is to get the job done at a satisfactory level. But for new college graduates, the future is pretty uncertain and it can be intimidating at times. But with the purchase of an SUV, they're going to have all the pros of a sports utility vehicle working in their favor. And it's going to help them to get to where they're going on time and in a safe manner, and in a relatively fuel efficient way. The only thing you got to think about now is which one you want to bring home. If you want to have a larger one with better fuel economy, or if you want to have, or I'm sorry, a larger one with less fuel economy, or if you want to have a smaller one with better fuel economy, whatever it is, it's going to be utility for you. It's going to make your life much easier, and it's honestly going to be another toolbox or another tool in our toolbox, which us new college graduates desperately need.